that we're heading to. Suffering too much, we've all had enough.
Let's make a change, let's hit restart.
We celebrate conscience on April 5th. Being kind and honest, spread your love. Gather your friends, our conscience awakens.
Uniting, protecting, we're all in common.
Now we all know about this viral pandemic. People dying and we're losing many paramedics. This new disease,
it's all in the air.
Country shutting down.
What? I mean everywhere.
Be selfless.
Wear masks.
For health.
Wash your hands.
For true love.
Stay at home.
Be kind.
Save the world.
We're far apart, but our heart is close. We can get through this with the same goal.
Listen to your conscience, love yourself. Listen to your conscience, love the world. It's our only home, you're not alone. With our conscience we can stand as one. Listen to your conscience, no anger. Listen to your conscience, no worries. Listen to your conscience, no tension. Hold on, don't give up, we'll get through this.
When the world slows down, I gotta calm my heart. I look into myself and evaluate my actions. I admit that I'm lost. Did everything mean nothing? I fear my conscience calling that I can make something with my life, make a change and improve. Doesn't have to be big, it's something I gotta do. I need to change myself, my words and my actions. Conscience pulls me through, yeah. Me and you, as humans, from purity we stray away. Conscience, the inner compass, can lead the way.
Lead the way.
Conscience is knowing what's right from wrong. Conscience is our guide to a peaceful world. Happiness,
yeah.
The most important thing. Like the bell of peace, make your voices ring. Spread your happiness,
come on.
Bring your friends along. We can get through this with the same goal.
Listen to your conscience, love yourself.
Love yourself.
Listen to your conscience, love the world.
Love the world.
It's our only home, you're not alone.
Not alone.
With our conscience we can stand as one.
Stand as one.
Listen to your conscience, no anger.
Just smile.
Listen to your conscience, no worries.
Let it go.
Listen to your conscience, no tension.
Just relax.
Don't give up, we'll get through this. La 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 la. La 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 la. Listen to your conscience, love the world. Hold on, don't give up. We will get through this.
Tell me, is it just me or are you worried too?
Yeah.
Worried about the world that we're heading to. Suffering too much, we've all had enough.
Let's make a change, let's hit restart.
We celebrate conscience on April 5th. Being kind and honest, spread your love. Gather your friends, our conscience awakens.
Uniting, protecting, we're all in common.
Now we all know about this viral pandemic. People dying and we're losing many paramedics. This new disease,
it's all in the air.
Country shutting down.
What? I mean everywhere.
Be selfless.
Wear masks.
For health.
Wash your hands.
For true love.
Stay at home.
Be kind.
Save the world.
We're far apart, but our heart is close. We can get through this with the same goal.
Listen to your conscience, love yourself. Listen to your conscience, love the world. It's our only home, you're not alone. With our conscience we can stand as one. Listen to your conscience, no anger. Listen to your conscience, no worries. Listen to your conscience, no tension. Hold on, don't give up, we'll get through this.
When the world slows down, I gotta calm my heart. I look into myself and evaluate my actions. I admit that I'm lost. Did everything mean nothing? I fear my conscience calling that I can make something with my life, make a change and improve. Doesn't have to be big, it's something I gotta do. I need to change myself, my words and my actions. Conscience pulls me through, yeah. Me and you, as humans, from purity we stray away. Conscience, the inner compass, can lead the way.
Lead the way.
Conscience is knowing what's right from wrong. Conscience is our guide to a peaceful world. Happiness,
yeah.
The most important thing.
Hello everyone. Thank you for joining us to celebrate the United Nations International Human Solidarity Day. This is a day for us to celebrate our unity in diversity. Solidarity is identified in the Millennium Declaration as one of the fundamental values of international relations in the 21st century, wherein those who either suffer or benefit least deserve help from those who benefit most. Consequently, in the context of globalization and the challenge of growing inequality, the strengthening of international solidarity is indispensable. For today's celebration, let us collectively raise awareness of the importance of solidarity and remind ourselves of the power it generates for our world to become a better place. First, we would like to share with you a video provided by the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights talking about UN free and equal. Solidarity means all of us. Please enjoy.
Each human being should have the right to be themselves and have autonomy over their bodies.
Even in a society that is still learning to understand, there are allies who will stand by us.
This guy was yelling at me, and then someone sitting there on the train got up and said, "Hey, that's not okay."
That moment of solidarity made me feel so welcome and safe.
Es muy importante saber que no estamos solas en este universo. I need to extend a hand of support to others whose oppression might be different.
Solidarity has made possible to bond with people from so many different places, with all kinds of ages, identities, and sexualities.
Being affirmed for who we are is the best way to show solidarity.
Let's march together. Let's father no issues.
Todos somos uno y uno somos todos.
We need each other to get free.
We're all fighting for the right to be who we are.
Solidarity is key.
Solidarity means coming together as a community to support one another.
Solidarity is necessary in this existence.
We need each other to get free. Let us weave together through threads of courage, hope, and above all, solidarity, creating a stunning tapestry that celebrates our shared humanity and the potential we have when we come together. For today's celebration, Dr. Hong Tao-Tse, President of the Federation of World Peace and Love, has prepared a message on Toward 2026, the imperative and urgency of global human solidarity. Let's welcome Dr. Hong's message.
Distinguished guests, dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, good day to you all. In 2005, the United Nations General Assembly designated the 20th of December of each year as International Human Solidarity Day, with the hope of inspiring the global community to take deeper and more proactive action in recognition that solidarity is what determines our shared future. This observance also serves as a reminder to governments of their responsibility to honor commitments made under international agreements, urge greater understanding and cooperation among nations, peoples, and cultures, and advance sustainable social development in order to address global challenges such as poverty, discrimination, inequality, and social exclusion. International Human Solidarity Day further reminds the global community that a peaceful world requires recognition of the necessity of seeking common ground while respecting differences. Through mutual appreciation, respect, and inclusion, the values of solidarity and cooperation can be integrated into everyday life. As we reflect on the world in 2025, geopolitical conflicts remain unresolved. Natural and human-made disasters continue to unfold, and political and economic tensions persist. The future of global sustainability rests in the hands of all humanity. Looking ahead, global solidarity is the only path toward hope. No single nation can, on its own, reverse the rapidly evolving global challenges we face. Only by strengthening international cooperation and mutual assistance, and by maximizing our collective capacity to confront shared challenges, can we move toward sustainable development and lasting progress. I therefore earnestly call upon international organizations and governments to work together to promote cultural exchange. deepen understanding and cooperation among peoples, bring an end to hatred and discrimination, and build harmonious societies for the benefit of all. When governments govern with transparency, self-discipline, and integrity, they inspire individuals to act according to conscience and mutual trust. In this way, a virtuous cycle of trust can naturally take root within society, enabling us to unite in creating a better living environment for all. Often, adversity leaves us feeling discouraged, yet even a small measure of hope can ignite the spark for action. Such hope arises from trust in the conscience and potential of humanity, and from confidence in the capacity of every individual and community to effect change. Conscience and hope are the driving forces that propel us forward, enabling us to remain steadfast in the face of challenges and to persevere in our pursuit of a better future. International Human Solidarity Day is a call to action, reminding us that every individual can, through their own efforts, contribute to strengthening solidarity across the world. Conscience guides each of our actions and inspires us to aspire to higher ideals. It enables us to discern right from wrong, truth from falsehood, and good from evil. When conscience serves as our foundation, the choices we make in life naturally move toward justice and the common good. The power of hope is the driving force of change. Every person possesses the potential to realize their aspirations, and it is the power of hope that sustains us in pursuing our goals, even in times of adversity. When conscience and the power of hope come together, they generate an inner strength that empowers individuals to become active agents of positive change. International Human Solidarity Day offers us an opportunity for both reflection and action. As we move toward 2026, we must act without delay. I have promoted the Declaration of Transparency and Integrity with the aspiration of building a global culture of mutual trust and cooperation founded upon integrity. To date, individuals from 149 countries have responded, collectively putting the values of honesty and conscience into action. Only through working together can we effectively address the challenges we face today, advance sustainable development, strive for the common well-being of humanity, and create a better world for future generations.
Thank you, Dr. Hong. As Dr. Hong mentioned, when governments govern with transparency, self-discipline, and integrity, they inspire individuals to act according to conscience and mutual trust. In this way, a virtuous cycle of trust can naturally take root within society, enabling us to unite in creating a better living environment for all. No matter what role we play in society, let's work together to create a virtuous cycle. Our talk today is with Dr. Upal, world's first image scientist. Let's welcome the conversation on human solidarity.
All right, and in celebration of solidarity, we have the beautiful Dr. Cultivating Upal. She is the first image scientist in the world, impact strategist, CEO of CREA, author, transformation mentor, and speaker. Thank you so much for joining us today, Dr. Upal.
It's an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for that very warm introduction. It's always a pleasure to join all of you at FOWPAL. It's just fantastic. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Of course, and I'm very excited to hear your perspectives and hopefully inspire people around the world to stand together for human solidarity. So first, what does human solidarity mean to you in the context of global challenges?
Human solidarity, from my perspective, refers to a sense of unity, mutual support, and shared responsibility among people, transcending differences like nationality, ethnicity, religion, or socioeconomic status. I think it embodies the belief that we are interconnected and that the well-being of one is tied with the well-being of all. This concept emphasizes empathy, cooperation, and the moral obligation to support one another, particularly during the times of adversity. Human solidarity in the context of global challenges, as you said, you wanted to know that aspect, so I'll just kind of put my thoughts there. So I think it means a shared commitment to act as one human family, recognizing that our destinies are interconnected, even when our lives, cultures, and borders are not. At a practical level, it means moving from sympathy to responsibility. Climate change, pandemics, wars, economic inequality, and technological disruption don't respect national boundaries. Solidarity is the understanding that no crisis is truly someone else's problem, whether it's a farmer facing drought, a refugee fleeing conflict, or a future generation inheriting a warmer planet. At a moral level, human solidarity is about equal dignity. It rejects the idea that some lives matter less because of geography or wealth or race or power. In global challenges, solidarity asks stronger nations, institutions, and individuals to lead with fairness rather than with dominance, and with cooperation rather than competition. And I think also at a human level, it means empathy backed by action in terms of sharing resources, knowledge, and technology, or listening to voices most affected, not just the most powerful, or making choices to be, whether it is, let's say, political or economic or personal, choices that reduce harm beyond our immediate circles. Let's understand that solidarity doesn't mean uniformity. It allows for differences in culture, belief, and approach, while holding on to a common goal of collective survival and shared flourishing. In a world where crises are increasingly interconnected, human solidarity is not idealism, it's realism. Without it, global challenges can become global failures. And with it, they become opportunities to redefine progress, not just by growth or power, but by how well we protect one another.
And I appreciate that. I love what you said. It's not about uniformity, but really understanding that our strength could, come together because of our differences and respect in that aspect. And now, as we look into these challenges, I was wondering if you have a story where solidarity among people made a positive and meaningful impact.
Okay, to my mind, one powerful example of human solidarity making a real difference comes from the 2018 Kerala floods in India. When unprecedented monsoon rains submerged towns and villages, millions were dispatched almost overnight. Roads disappeared, power failed, and official rescue systems were quickly overwhelmed. What followed, however, became a living lesson for solidarity. As an example, ordinary people stepped in without waiting to be asked. Fishermen from coastal villages brought their boats deep inland, navigating flooded streets where rescue vehicles could not even reach. Many had never traveled outside their districts before, yet they risked their lives to save strangers. Temples, mosques, churches, schools, and even private homes opened their doors as relief shelters, serving anyone in need. Regardless of their religion, caste, and background, all that became irrelevant. Youth groups coordinated rescues through social media mapping stranded families in real time. Migrant workers, often among the most vulnerable, became volunteers themselves, cooking and cleaning and rebuilding alongside local population. Donations poured in not just from across India, but also from global Indian diaspora, funding relief and long-term rehabilitation. What made this solidarity meaningful wasn't just the scale of help. It was the collapse of social boundaries in a moment of crisis. People did not act as victims and saviors, they acted as equals, responding to a shared emergency. Long after the waters receded, many survivors said the most lasting impact was not the material aid, the feeling that they were not alone. This story shows that solidarity is not only about, these grand international agreements. Sometimes it can be as simple as neighbors rowing boats through flooded streets, strangers, sharing meals, and communities choosing humanity over hesitation. In moments like these, solidarity doesn't just save lives, it restores faith. in one another.
And with your story, it makes it feel like it is in our nature to be compassionate, to be kind. Oftentimes you feel like,
Absolutely.
right? If we don't have these crises, it almost feels like, oh, I can't do it, I won't, or I don't have the time. But when we're very pushed to the limit, that's very powerful. Like I'm having goosebumps thinking
Absolutely.
about this right now because it is so pure. It's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that
Absolutely.
story. Just to further this idea a little bit more, what can we do during crisis? And you talked about this already. How can we cultivate a sense of solidarity on a global scale, especially during times of crisis? I feel like maybe it's a mindset before we reach that crisis to help us, or maybe just staying pure. What is your take on this?
That's an interesting question, and it's also very wholesome. Um, Cultivating global solidarity during times of crisis requires intentional action, multiple levels, personal, community, and so on and so forth. I would say institutional and even, of course, international. It doesn't happen automatically. It's built through habits, systems, and leadership that keep humanity at the center, especially when fear and scarcity push us towards division. So let's explore now some of the practical and sensible ways that we can nurture this. Firstly, I think we can start with shared narratives. Global solidarity grows when leaders, media, and educators emphasize interdependence. How health systems, or let's say climate, supply chain, and peace, etc., are linked across borders and they require collective action. We need to highlight human stories, not just statistics. We need to use the language of collective risk and collective recovery. Avoid blame focused messaging during emergencies. We must encourage joint projects, whether in education or business or community service. Collaboration always fosters mutual respect and understanding. Secondly, I would say it's good to strengthen local solidarity to enable global solidarity. Because I think global unity is built from strong local action. So we need to join or at least support community networks, volunteers, and civil society groups, and encourage cooperation across religion, class, and culture locally. When people experience solidarity at home, they are more open to extending it globally. That's what I feel. And crises like the pandemic and natural disasters show that resilient communities become the backbone of global response. Thirdly, I think it's important to make institutions more equitable and trustworthy. I think when people unite, and they actually unite when they believe that systems are fair, solidarity collapses when people feel excluded or exploited. So I think that's important. Number four, I would say invest in empathy through education and practice individual empathy and open mindedness. Understanding others reduces indifference, which is the enemy of solidarity. So, empathy is very, very important. And empathy can be taught and even scaled. We should consider integrating global citizenship as a subject, if possible, and ethics into education. We should challenge our personal biases. Let's acknowledge and work on preconceived notions or prejudices that might hinder solidarity. We can also encourage cultural exchange in person or even digitally, because it's a digital world today. And we could teach critical thinking to resist misinformation that fuels fears and polarization. Another point I'd say, especially because I think in today's world, it's important to use technology as a connector and leverage to break barriers and build bridges. So I think, for example, like digital platforms, let's say, can coordinate aid or share verified information and crowdsource solutions. Technology can also promote responsible media consumption. And when used well, technology enables real-time global cooperation. Coming to leadership, which I also think is a very critical part of this entire scenario, I think as far as leadership roles are concerned, I think one needs to lead with conscience and moral courage and not just authority. Leadership shapes collective behavior. I have a strong belief it does that, and thus I feel solidarity can also be modeled. Leaders need to facilitate dialogue and communication by creating safe spaces or platforms where individuals can openly share experiences and viewpoints and help break down misunderstandings. Leaders must practice active listening and encourage people to genuinely listen without judgment. That will foster empathy and understanding. Also, I believe use storytelling is a very age-old belief that it makes a difference, but I do personally believe that sharing personal stories can humanize cultural differences and build emotional connections. Interestingly, studies have also shown that the role models and leaders across the world who acknowledge uncertainty and vulnerability to an extent, I would say, also build larger trust because there's a real person that people connect with. So I think it's fine for a leader to sometimes assume the vulnerable, role as such. It's also important as leaders to set powerful examples of international cooperation during crisis, whether it is debt relief or aid without conditions or even shared research. And lastly, I think we need to work towards turning compassion into sustained commitment. Ironically, crisis-driven solidarity often fades once the urgency passes away. And we need to build long-term systems, not one-time responses. By doing that, we will be able to convert emergency cooperation into permanent collaboration. I also think that it probably makes sense to measure success not only by recovery, but also by reduced vulnerability in the future. So in essence, if I have to summarize your question and answer to that, I would say global solidarity grows when people feel seen, protected, and responsible for one another. Crises reveal our fractures, but they also offer rare moments to redefine how we relate as a global community. The question is not whether solidarity is possible, but whether we choose to institutionalize care instead of reverting to isolation once the crisis subsides. By focusing on shared humanity, celebrating diversity, and addressing inequalities, societies can overcome cultural barriers and build a world where solidarity thrives. It begins with individual actions and expands to systemic change through collective effort. That's what I believe.
Beautifully said, Dr. Upal. And I love how you've built from individualistic to institutions, and it makes so much sense, and it comes from habit. And you're talking about technology. I think it's a great idea to point that out too, because there are times when you see things online and it just brings a sense of happiness with you seeing humanity at its best. And then we have to be so careful now with AI generated videos. Some of them, it causes panic in you only to realize it was AI generated. So we really have to be smart about it, put it to good use to really help humanity come together and see those positive examples. So we are building a habit when a crisis does happen, we can continue with that same compassion. And I love you talked about honesty, right? Dr. Hong is actually promoting the Declaration of Transparency and Integrity to support the International Day of Hope and Conscience. With all of this together, as you beautifully put in your points, will really help us lead us to success. So I really hope a lot of people are going to be watching this show today, because I think these are beautiful points for not only leaders around the world, but individuals, which leads me to my last question for you today is, are there any suggestions and tips from you, the steps that individuals can take to foster a more united and compassionate world?
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. In fact, individuals may feel small and insignificant in the face of global problems, but every meaningful shift towards a more united and compassionate world begins with individual choices, repeated consistently and multiplied across communities. To my mind, there are a handful of practical and grounded steps that may help to make a difference as individuals. I'll just share some of them, a handful of them, in fact. I'd say number one would be practice everyday empathy. I'm saying this again because I strongly believe that empathy makes a world of a difference. Compassion starts with how we listen and respond. So we have to listen to understand, and it's not always necessary to reply or respond. Sometimes you just need to listen and absorb. That itself conveys a lot. Let's acknowledge others' struggles without minimizing their journeys or minimizing them for that matter. Let's be kind, even when you disagree. It doesn't matter. Small, respectful interactions quietly reshape social norms, and I think we must all put an effort there. Number two would be to act locally with a global mindset, which I've earlier shared again. I'll just again brief it out a little bit. You don't need to solve, the whole world to help. You can do your own little part to make that difference. Local action builds trust. It is the foundation of unity. And you could volunteer your time or skills in your community. You could support local causes that align with global values, be it education, health, environment, whatever your heart beats for. Try and help people directly, not just through opinions. You can actually try and help directly. I'd say number three would be to learn continually and evolve into a global citizen. A united world requires humility and understanding. So expose yourself. Perspectives different from your own. Read, travel, or engage with cultures beyond your comfort zone. In this journey of yours, question your stereotypes that you have in your mind, your inherited biases, and willingly and bravely unlearn them and relearn. Let's remember that growth begins where certainty ends. So it's important. Number four, I would say use your voice with care and courage. I read somewhere that silence can sometimes enable harm, but noise without care has the potential to divide. I think it's important. You can speak up in disagreements, but respectfully. It's okay to disagree. That's fine. Also, I think it's important to share verified information and not outrage. So our communication pattern has to kind of, go past a little overhaul there if we are doing something like that. I also believe that you can amplify marginalized voices rather than speaking over them. It's important to understand that words can heal or even harden. So choose words wisely and be a compassionate voice that truly cares. Another thing I would say is build bridges in everyday spaces. Unity is often built in very ordinary moments. Reach out across social, religious, or political lines. Create inclusive spaces, whether at work or school or home or wherever. Celebrate your differences without turning them into barriers. You don't need an agreement all the while to practice respect. It can happen at any point in time. Another thing I would say is support systems and not just sympathy. Okay, so like I mentioned earlier also, where we're talking of institutions, right? Compassion is most powerful when it becomes structural. Lasting unity requires systems that reflect shared values. So support policies or organizations that encourage solidarity peacefully and persistently, and also those that have long-term impact. And care for yourself so that you can care for others. In the aircraft, as a pilot, I'm saying this, you would have often heard when you travel, the oxygen masks when they drop, make sure you wear them in a certain way. But we're also taught that if you have a child next to you, make sure the mask is also put on the child. But typically, in an emergency, you always have to first put the mask onto yourself, and then you help the people around you. Because at the end of the day, if you don't do that, you won't be in a position to help anyone else either. So it's important to care for yourself so that you can take care of others. Burnout erodes compassion. So set healthy boundaries for yourself. Practice things like reflection, gratitude, mindfulness. Stay grounded. I believe sustainable kindness is better than heroic exhaustion. So it's good to take care of yourself. And most importantly, something I truly have believed and felt from the heart, operate through your conscience. It's actually most central to your contribution as an individual at a deeper level. The concept of conscience, which is our internal sense of right or wrong, this plays such a vital role in fostering human solidarity. It acts as a moral compass, that drives empathy, compassion, respect, and responsibility towards others, urging us to act in ways that uphold shared values and contribute to the common good of shared humanity. When guided by conscience, solidarity becomes not just a choice but an ethical imperative. The father of our nation, Mahatma Gandhi said, "Be the change you want to see in the world." Every interaction we make is like a vote for the kind of world we want to live in. A more united and compassionate world is not built by extraordinary people doing extraordinary things. It's built by ordinary people choosing empathy over indifference, responsibility over convenience, and pure connection over fear. In other words, making the right choices. And that's what we have to do rationally and from the bottom of our hearts.
Beautifully said. Thank you, Dr. Upal, for sharing with us your views, updated views, might I add, because Dr. Upal has joined us before on the ICDAY platform, and we always appreciate your stories. And I love the conclusion that you've made. Conscience, ladies and gentlemen, let's tap into your conscience. It is within all of us. Just remember to find that time for reflection so you will find the strength within yourself to create real change in the world. So once again, thank you. And so thank you so much for joining us to celebrate International Human Solidarity.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having me over. It's always a pleasure. Thank you.
We hope you also enjoyed the wonderful conversation on human solidarity. We look forward to welcoming new journeys in the year 2026 with you all. Our next event will be January 24th to celebrate the International Day of Education. Be sure to join us then. As we approach the end of the year, we would like to wish you good health, safety, and happiness during your celebrations. Enjoy FOWPAL's greeting card and best wishes from us all to you. Thank you. We'll see you next time.